Welcome back, everyone. Betska, the Guru Coach, together with Raj Vashisht and our guest today, Cathie Godfrey. And we are discussing suicide loss and her book, Your Suicide Didn't Kill Me. Fascinating topic, right? And Raj was just saying in the pause here, and that's why I'm going to throw a question at him here, that when his mom died, he basically didn't want to live anymore. And then compounded with that, as a teenager, teenagers are so concerned about their looks. That's why we go and buy lots of clothes and makeup and for girls, etc. And Raj thought he was ugly. Yeah. So, Raj, what did you do to get over that? I think that's an important thing to discuss here as a
Meditation,
teenager, right?
meditation,
Meditation. Ah,
and my sister love and care,
your sister's love. Oh, okay.
because that time I was feeling I'm very ugly. I was very
Mm,
ugly boy. I thought no one said it's on my own thought. No one said.
yeah, yeah,
Everybody love, care, and appreciate me because I was so brilliant in my education, my
right.
study, and I'm very disciplined boy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very tip-top boy actually that time also. But
Yeah,
I don't know, I realize I'm ugly from my inside.
right. Oh, I can, I can, I can imagine, Cathie, that there are many young people who have those sorts of thoughts, right? That, the
Hmm.
peer pressure, and especially online, and you see all these beautiful bodies and all that stuff. Oh
Yes,
my God, the confusion
Absolutely.
right.
Yep. Yep.
would be
And
massive.
absolutely. And young people are second for the number of suicides that there are. Mostly it's men that are between, I think it's like 40 and 65, and then the next one is teenagers. And I can't
Oh,
imagine growing up in a time of social media. We didn't have it when I was a
no.
teenager, and it was tough
Mm-mm.
enough as it was. But imagine
Yeah.
having these armchair warriors that are telling you to kill yourself. Like it's just horrible, horrible things that are happening to our kids in terms of being bullied. And,
Yeah.
and, I've heard of kids as young as 6 dying by suicide because they were
Oh my,
bullied.
oh
It's just
my God.
heartbreaking.
No kidding. So
Hmm.
you have said that love still lives beyond loss. So what does that look
Hmm.
like in real life for someone grieving the death of a
Hmm.
loved one to suicide? What does that love look like? Tell me, tell
Yeah.
us.
I think it's so easy to say that, I'll never love again or my love is gone and
Yeah.
feeling abandoned and alone. I think those are
Mm,
very natural feelings to have, and to have somebody walk with you and coach you and talk you through that there is life on the other side. And it's not
right.
linear. It's not a timeline. I think one of the biggest things people say is, are you done grieving yet? Are you done grieving yet? No.
Wow.
It's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, it's very different for everyone. They say that a person does not truly die until the last time their name is spoken. So I love that I'm saying my husband's name
Yeah.
and keeping him alive
Mm,
through that and through his memories. Um,
mm,
yeah, I strongly believe that love it continues. Love doesn't go away. You can't just compartmentalize it and
no.
put it away.
Mm,
It looks different, but it's
mm,
it's finding, first of all, love for yourself. I think that's the
yeah.
first thing in wanting to move forward is loving yourself, releasing the guilt, the shame, the stigma, all those kinds of things,
Mm,
and learning to trust yourself again. I went through a tough
mm,
time. Could I trust myself to love somebody again? And what if they died by suicide? Right?
mm.
So learning to trust my choices and learning to love myself were two of the biggest things that I think I did.
Well, I take a moment to thank Brian because he's the cause of this
Mm.
conversation here today. And through that, we learn a lot, right? It was a
hmm
big sacrifice for him on a spiritual level. I'm sure like that would be huge. So tell us about some of the biggest myths or misconceptions that people have
hmm
around grief,
hmm
especially when it comes to suicide loss. What are
Sure.
those myths?
So one of the biggest myths is um, uh, that they should be over it by now. I already mentioned that people think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
grief has a timeline. In years
Mm,
gone by, people would wear black for 1 year. They would grieve for 1 year, and then they were
yeah,
expected to get out and live their life again.
yeah.
And there's no timeline. It might take many years. And
Mm,
some people believe that you can totally eradicate grief. I think I'm really on the other side of grief. It's been, coming up on 25 years since he died, and now I'm
mm,
remarried. Um, so I don't grieve in the same way I did 25 years ago. But
mm,
even just talking about him, there's a piece of my heart that it is touched,
mm.
even just, speaking his name. Um, I think the other misconception is we shouldn't talk about suicide because it'll give people ideas. No,
Oh,
we
yeah.
need to talk about suicide. We need to remove the
Yeah,
stigma. We
yeah.
need to be more accepting of supporting people. There were people in my life that after Brian died, they came to his funeral. I mean, it was standing room only. He was a popular guy, but after that, I never heard from them again. Right? Because
Oh, interesting.
they
Yeah.
were uncomfortable with what to say. There were people that really rallied around me, and there were
Mm,
people that just scattered.
yeah.
Um, the other misconception is that they chose this. And I've already talked about, I don't believe
Mm,
that suicide is a choice. I think that they are down to their last option. Um,
yeah.
and then the
Yeah.
other one is if you're still struggling, you're not strong. And I really disagree with that. We all
Mm,
struggle on different levels, and
mm,
it takes strength to get up every day and walk and keep walking forward.
mm-hmm.
Hmm
Absolutely. I was thinking about my dad didn't commit suicide, but he died very young, and I still mourn his loss, you know?
hmm
That was
hmm
like 30 years ago or something,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
it's still there, and I guess that
absolutely.
shows the depth of my love for him too, huh?
I would agree with that. I would agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that love doesn't go away. It just
no,
it just changes and
yeah.
stays with you.
So,
Hmm
so if someone is listening to our podcast and they are feeling lost in their grief today, what would you want them to know right now? How
I
can you
would want them
support them
to
right
know
now?
that their grief is valid, that they
Mm,
don't need to push it down or push it aside or feel like they have to rush through it.
right.
Grief is valid. And I would also want them to know that they're not broken. They're not broken.
Yeah,
They're grieving.
right.
And all of us go
Ah,
through levels of grief throughout our lives, right?
mm,
If you didn't get first place um, in school in a competition, right? There's some there might be some sadness, there's some grief there.
mhm,
I mean,
mhm.
that might be a smaller example. Um, um, but yeah, you're not broken. You're not broken. And one of my favorite statues is, I think it's in India, and it's a woman, and it's all kind of broken broken pieces of her. Do you
Mhm.
know the one I'm talking about, Raj? And the sun shines through her, and it's through that she's is illuminated. Also, the Japanese, when they break a vase, right, they'll fix it with gold, right? So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's beautiful. Mhm.
hmm hmm
Mm,
So I
mm,
don't believe that you'll be the same after a loss, but it doesn't mean that it can't be beautiful.
yeah. So what I'm getting from this whole conversation, which has been so rich, Cathie, thank you so much
Mhm.
for being here, is love is such a big healer. And
Yeah.
so anyone who is thinking about suicide, or if someone that you love has committed suicide,
hmm
um, going into the heart and really searching for a deep love. And in Raj's case, he turned to the divine. His master talked about
Mhm.
turning yourself over to God, right?
Mhm.
How important that is, Raj.
One point I'm sharing, like young people who are 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 22, 20, 25 till, they need actually, like I have gone through this situation, they need every time counseling, love, care. Otherwise, that age is very dangerous for
Yeah.
lost the mind and hopeless very fast way.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Mhm. Because if
So,
you're a survivor of suicide loss, your
yes,
chances of dying by suicide go up six
right.
times.
What was that? Sorry, what was the stat?
If you are a survivor of suicide loss, the
Yeah.
chances of you either attempting or dying by suicide goes up six times. So I knew
Wow.
that stat and why it was so important that I work with my kids to make sure
Mhm.
that they did not follow their dad and change the legacy of our family.
I was
Sorry,
speaking with
Raj, I
a
didn't mean to interrupt you
oh,
there.
and Raj also raises another story. I was speaking with a gentleman just several months ago where his 14-year-old daughter committed suicide, and then her sister, who was 9, committed suicide. So he lost 2 of his kids in like a 6-month period or something. And I just went, oh my God.
That's just heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking, So, folks, if you're listening here and if you get any sense from someone who is wanting to end their life, reach out with your heart wide open and do your best to support them and love them with whatever they're going through, and put them in touch with Cathie Godfrey. Her
Thank you.
contact information is in this podcast. So it's important. Let's help people save their lives. Thank you for being here with us today. Cathie, you're
Thank
a
you.
godsend. Thank you so much.
Thank you.